What happens to school shooters in prison? This one is very different from what you would think. Now, I met somebody and became somewhat friends with them many years ago when I was direct filed charged as an adult at the age of 15. His name was Nathaniel Brazil. And he was in prison, well, we were in jail at the time, and he was charged as an adult on the 12th floor. It's where everybody's direct filed are all juveniles, and before they get convicted of the crime, we're all direct filed charged as an adult. Murders, armed robberies, everybody's facing 15, 20 years, life sentences, death penalty, depending on when they do get convicted and their age. And it was the hardest time I've ever done because you have a bunch of young men that don't even know why they're so angry, don't even know why they're so violent. And they're in a place as they're maturing and going through puberty and everything like that. And they're just filled with testosterone, anger, and they're also young and fragile. So it's like this combination, and it's just pure chaos, nothing but fightings and stabbings, and the COs or officers are getting beat up, constant just warfare. And we're all juveniles, charged as an adult. And when I met Nathaniel Brazil, he was in there, and this is an international case. He was at the same school in the same county, where I'm from, and he basically got into an argument with a teacher, came back and shot him with a 25 millimeter Raven pistol, killed the teacher, and basically just said, fuck him. And when he was in there as a youth, as a juvenile, he was a savage. I mean, he didn't take any shit. He was ready to ride, and he kind of compartmentalized it as, man, fuck that teacher. He hating on me, like kind of made it like that. And he was an animal, savage. You fast forward about 15 years, he's still in prison doing, I think, 20, 25 years for it. And when I came across him again later on in his bid, he was fully committed to change. Now, some people use that and they lie, and as soon as they get out, they throw their religious books away. The way you can truly tell is this. If you change and get close with God or religion in prison, people that once knew you as a savage will mock you, say you're soft, you're weak, you're a snitch, you're using this as a check-in move to get help from the officer, or drugs will come near you. Anything to not better yourself, to be that same savage so other people can use you or feel better about what they're doing also. And he never wavered, and he was once a real bad dude in there. And, he reached out to the victims, and he was trying to really mentor the youth in there. And as he gets out in the next couple of years, it'll be interesting to see what he does, because he took that change very serious. And it wasn't at an easy prison, and it wasn't right before he came home. He's been doing this for over a decade. But you never know, you just never know. Then there's a different side of things. There was these two dudes from Jacksonville that shot up a school, and it was a bunch of kids there. I think it was a middle school. But here's the thing. They came into prison like they were gangsters. And people hate school shooters because, one, you've killed kids, and everybody knows somebody that knows something about it in that area. It's affects somebody. The COs know somebody. It's affect everybody somehow or another in that town, that city, especially in Jacksonville, where they don't play. But these dudes came in, they were getting tattoos, they were acting like they were just hot shit. And, I saw them later on in about 6 months. They went from being Die Hard with a Vengeance. One dude looked like Paris Hilton, and the other dude looked like Goldust from the WWF. I mean, they were beaten, turned out, used and abused. And in the beginning, they had like a squad of like groupies that would help them. All of them were getting extorted. They would reach out to the groupies, extort them on the streets. And since they hurt and killed kids going to school to educate themselves, people did not give a fuck. CEOs would help them get the information and try to give them leads on where to go and who to get it. And they were both just stuck in an endless cycle where one dude, I think, is in a wheelchair now from his beatings and just the amount of just abuse he took. And I think the other one is happily married in C-Yard. Then you have other ones that are like the Parkland shooter, Nicholas Cruz. Now, I know somebody that's in the prison with him, and this dude is really soft, weak little punk. He cries every time. He's always trying to take his own life. He's just always just pleading and begging and just saying, please help me. I don't belong here. And what he told me is he's very hard to get to because of the amount of media that covers everything. So obviously, it just goes without saying, they poison his food, but they cut him off from the world. That's what they really did. They took everything he had, because in the beginning, he loved it. He loved the infamy and the notoriety. And what they did was they started fucking with his mail. And they would find certain people that were his groupies also. It's sick that people support this demonic behavior for whatever reason, which makes officers even more angry because they know some of the victims, or their coworkers do. And certain inmates will talk and say, hey, you want to make some money? Go to this place. Check out this number. Check out this Cash App. And they basically cut him off from all help, all just communication, nothing. Nobody fucks with him. And he might be able to make a call here and there. And from what I heard, he was trying to get a tattoo from another dude in protective custody. And I guess they say the ink was poisoned. He ended up getting a really bad infection. Like, he's tormented to the point where it's not physical violence. It's complete removal of society on every single level. And when you do that to somebody like that, that's worse than any ass whooping they can ever get. People are scared to write him, and if they do, somehow the mail disappears. You know, it's very, very mental warfare with that dude in there. I mean, he's a punk, man. He went in there and killed a bunch of kids that were trying to get education because you're mad or something like that, and then you try to make it like you're cool. Well, he learned real quick in prison that you're not respected, and his biggest torment isn't the physical violence because of all the interviews and lawyer meetings he has. It's the constant isolation, the constant just you're not able to get any groupie letters anymore. You're not getting any of your mail, your canteen. Everything is just constant. You're isolated. Then he threatens to hurt himself and gets put in the turtle suit. So he's really suffering in there, not physically, but mentally. It's very twisted. It is. And to see the different levels of a guy like Nathaniel Brazil, who I kind of grew up with in the system, and he looked at it like, you know, fuck that dude, he disrespected me and I killed. That's how he looks at it, you know. But at the end of the day, what he did was fucked up, and he truly knows it. He doesn't hide from it, and he's trying to do everything to better it, you know, spoke to the victims, and he's really trying to change himself. And I'm very good at seeing people and understanding like their energy, and he seems very, very pure in his intentions. Now, I've seen many times where people get out and they'll throw their books away, and you never know. It's just, you made a horrible, angry decision, and you suffered for it for 25 years. But there's a difference, and it's all bad, don't get me wrong. He took a teacher's life away from his kids, and there's a difference of seeing a guy go through the change. When I saw him, he was a savage, fighting everybody, stabbing everybody, ready for whatever. And then seeing him later on just completely walking in his own way, walking in the light, it was good to see that. Crying, shedding tears, not out of weakness, but he is just so disgusted at what he once was. So we'll see in the next couple of years what happens. But the other two from Jacksonville, man, they came in there like they were gangsters. Like they just committed a shooting, like they were some like thugs on the block shooting in a gang war. Next thing I know, one dude's getting married to Debo on the yard. The other dude's in a wheelchair. I think his nickname's Half Dead. And then the Parkland shooter, from what I was told by my friend, is that his biggest fear is being in that tomb of unknown. He's an unknown in there. His mail gets fucked with. His communication gets fucked with, his money gets fucked with, and nobody cares. So he threatens to hurt himself. He cries, and that's his biggest torment. But later on, as time goes on, when 20, 10, whatever years go by, that's when people don't even care. Who is this guy? Because another incident happens, and another incident happens. And, you know, people don't forget on the inside. Like I tell you guys, time doesn't exist, only opportunity. The COs don't forget, inmates don't forget, and the victims don't forget. And people play the long game in prison. I've seen too many times where people have waited 10 years to make a phone call to get somebody hit up. And that's just how it goes. Leave our fucking kids alone, man, period. Yeah, this is a fucked up one. Stay out, stay free, us.